The question on everybody's lips and minds at the moment is where the hell can Collingwood finish? Let's look into this AFL ladder predictor. So, Collingwood haven't done themselves any favours. We were sitting 10 points clear on top of the ladder, drop a couple of ones that we should have won, and then get smashed by the Lions, and then get smashed by the Hawks, and lose to first place Adelaide. And now we are scraping to get into the top four. We're definitely playing finals, which is amazing, but we're scraping to get into the top four when 6, 7 weeks ago we were sitting first, sitting pretty, and the minor premiership looked ours. Now, I've always said if you need to rely on other teams to win or to lose, and I've congratulated a couple of teams for them winning and losing or whatever it may have been, um, you've not done your job correctly, and we haven't done our job right. We did at the start, and now we haven't. And the only thing that we can do is win and hope other results don't. Other results fall our way, so we can finish third or fourth. The highest we can finish now is technically second if we have an absolute shellacking. But it's not going to happen. The highest we can finish mathematically is the highest we can finish theoretically is third, as low as eighth, which is wild to think from first to eighth. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the final round, do a couple of variations, see where we stand, and just go from there. Let's get into it. So this is what the ladder looks like now. So Adelaide are minor premiers. Geelong's big win over Sydney boost them up to second. And they pretty much can't get out of second unless, Brisbane win. And we'll look at that in a second. But we are fourth. Brisbane are third with that draw. 5, 6, 7 are all on 60. The Doggies and the Suns on 56, but the Suns have got a game in hand against Essendon because AFL screwed up their fixturing majorly, which is I still can't believe that the Gold Coast and Essendon are playing twice in the last round where this could have been played earlier on in the season, like the Geelong game was. So it's just not computing to me. But let's start. We're going to do the margins as best as we can because it will all come down to percentage. So Carlton Essendon doesn't really matter who wins this, but I've got Carlton winning. So Collingwood and Melbourne. So I think we're going to come out and smash Melbourne if we play like we did against Adelaide. I've got us winning by 30. Can I go? Oh, you only can go up by 10. All right, I've got us winning by 30 points, okay? Now, Port Adelaide, Gold Coast. So there's a lot that comes out down to the Port Adelaide Gold Coast game. I do think Gold Coast are going to win, which takes them up to 6th. Oh, wait, I didn't put up Collingwood. Okay. Which takes Gold Coast up to 6th. But it's the matter of how much they win. Because if you look over here, they're on 121.4% here if it's a 20-point win, and we're on 123.9 if it's a 30-point win to us against Melbourne. Now, if you boost up a Gold Coast against Port, which it could be a big thing. They to make up our percentage, they would need at least a 60-point win, and you can see here to make up more than 123.9%. I don't think it's going to be a 60-point win. I think it'll be about a 30 to 40-point win. A 40-point win takes them above Hawthorn. 30-point win takes them to 6th. Let's say a 30-point win to the Suns. Then we've got North Melbourne, Adelaide. This doesn't matter. Adelaide finishing on 72 points is wild. They're going to win by bloody 80 points. That doesn't really matter to us. Richmond, Geelong. Have Geelong got the easiest run in history? It is absolutely just wild. And if the Kangaroos can smash the Tigers, imagine what Geelong are able to do. This is what I mean by Geelong have obviously got second place sewn up. This could be 100 bloody point win. We'll just say 70 points. Maybe not. We'll just say 60 points. West Coast Sydney ultimately doesn't matter, but we'll say Sydney by 40 points. Now, this one could matter here and there, or it matters for the ending of the top 8. Could St Kilda with Nasiah signing, could they cause an upset in the final round? Because a Giants win at the moment takes them to 4th because Brisbane, Hawthorn, Gold Coast, and Freo haven't played yet. But could St Kilda run amok? I know it's at NG Stadium. let's look at the Giants winning at the moment by 20 points. I think it'll be a close game. This is the biggest one. Western Bulldogs, Fremantle. So remember, this is just the first iteration of our ladder. So we're going to say Western Bulldogs are going to win this by about 20 points, I reckon. Because, Fremantle will want to sort of jump up from what they did last week, or what they failed to do last week against the Lions. Now, this game, the Brisbane Hawthorn game, is the biggest, probably the second biggest game, or the third biggest game in this round for us, the implications for Collingwood. Now, a Brisbane win takes them to third and finishes us in fourth place for now. A Hawthorn win keeps us at third, pushes Hawthorn up to fourth spot, and has Brisbane sixth. So in this iteration, we're going to look at Brisbane winning. Ultimately, points don't matter here. So we'll just say 20 points. And then Gold Coast Essendon. Now, everyone is expecting Gold Coast to beat Essendon. Fair enough. Gold Coast beating Essendon takes them to fifth spot. Now, they will need to beat Essendon by, it looks like 40 points takes into, so they would need to beat Essendon by 45 plus to leapfrog us from fifth to fourth. Now, so this is what the final ladder, sorry, I don't have them winning by that much. So this would be one of the ideal scenarios for the ladder. We finish in fourth place. The Suns don't leapfrog us because they don't beat Essendon by enough, because Essendon keep them at bay. The Western Bulldogs get in. Hawthorn finish eighth. Giants are sixth. And there you go. Now, let's look at a second iteration of the ladder. I don't want to, this prospect isn't Collingwood losing to Melbourne, even though we'll look at that as well. So we'll go down to the games that really matter. It's this Geelong Port Adelaide game. Again, if Geelong Gold Coast were to even win here by 50 points, they need to win both of their games by a combined margin of about 100 points to leapfrog us. Or is it 100 points? 50, 6, 7, 8. So by a combined margin of 80 points to leapfrog us. But then if we beat Melbourne by 40 points, we leapfrog them. So we need to guarantee our spot in the top 4, we just have to come out and absolutely smash Melbourne. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We have to absolutely come out and smash them. So we'll say Suns win by 40. We're winning by 30 against Melbourne. Against Melbourne. Now, this one doesn't matter. In this iteration, we're going to say St. Kilda beats the Giants. I still think the Western Bulldogs will beat Fremantle. Now, if Hawthorn beats Brisbane by any margin, Collingwood get automatically boosted up to third place. And the Gold Coast Suns finish in fourth place, ahead of Hawthorn and ahead of Brisbane. Now, this is another good iteration, because if Hawthorn can beat Brisbane by any margin, it ultimately doesn't matter what happens in the Gold Coast games in regard to the top 4. It matters if Gold Coast beat Essendon by some extra points, we go from third to fourth. So that's what it matters. It depends, are you versing Adelaide or versing Geelong? That's ultimately what matters. But if Hawthorn beat Brisbane, we're guaranteed a top 4 spot if we win. So we will need to win, and we're going to find out pretty early on in this round what's going to happen. So in the second iteration, we have Collingwood third, Gold Coast fourth, Hawthorn fifth, Lions sixth, Doggies seventh, Giants eighth. Just for the hell of it, a third iteration will have Fremantle jumping up, and the Western Bulldogs. So it's really just out of Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs who finishes in the top 8. With regard to Collingwood, we'll look at the worst possible scenario for us. And the worst possible scenario is Melbourne winning, right? Gold Coast winning, Adelaide winning, Geelong winning, Sydney winning, Giants winning. Fremantle or Western Bulldogs winning doesn't ultimately matter to us. And Brisbane and Hawthorn don't matter to us either regarding ladder position. They will matter with who finishes in 5th place. So if Collingwood lose and Collingwood lose and the Giants win, we fall to 8th place, which means we take on a 5th place, either the Giants, if the Giants win. And that's pretty much it. It looks like we'd probably only take on the Giants. So if the Giants win and Collingwood lose, they'll jump to 5th, and we'll take on the Giants in a first week elimination final at NG Stadium, where we got absolutely pants in opening round. Now, if Collingwood win and let's say Port Adelaide win, which is the same night. So if Collingwood win and Port Adelaide win, we are guaranteed a top 4 spot. Gold Coast can't kick us out. They would need to beat Essendon by 80, 90 points, which could happen, I guess. But then it comes back down to Brisbane and Hawthorn. So if we finish 3rd or 4th. So there are a lot of iterations in here. And, if Collingwood finish 3rd, we play Geelong at, finish 3rd, we play Geelong at the MCG. I actually don't mind that because we wouldn't be travelling. Or if Brisbane win, they finish 3rd, we finish 4th, we go over to Adelaide and play the Crows at Adelaide Oval after just losing to them by 3 points, and all this ranking stuff has come out, and he'll be missing for hopefully 4 or 5 weeks. But again, it all comes down to Collingwood thrash or just beating Melbourne, but we need to thrash them to really secure a spot in the top 4. And so Gold Coast don't make up the numbers in percentage. We'll also need Port Adelaide and Port Adelaide and Essendon to keep the margins slow if they do end up losing against the Suns. But they are all the different iterations, or there's probably 1,000 more iterations of the ladder, but they're the big ones that I've found. Let me know your thoughts down below. Would you rather finish 3rd and play Geelong at the G, finish 4th and play the Crows, or if we lose, we'll end up going to NG Stadium if the Giants win? Did we look at what happens if the Giants? Oh, sorry, we didn't look at that. So if the Giants lose, if St Kilda win and beat the Giants, and then Brisbane win, did we still have Port Adelaide, and the Suns win? Oh, sorry, and we lose, we'll go to 7th and play the 6th place team, which will be, it could be a Hawthorn, or it could be a Doggies, who you probably don't want. It could even be the Lions if Fremantle win. So I don't see us losing to Melbourne, though. That's the thing. That's the big thing. If we do lose to Melbourne, there's 4 or 5 teams that will end up playing. But I do think that we beat Melbourne, and I really do have us finishing 3rd. I think Hawthorn can knock off the Lions at the Gabba, especially with no Hipwood. But let me know your thoughts down below. Which version of the ladder do you like the most? Which version of the ladder do you think is going to be the most accurate? Leave your top 8s in the comment section down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers, I'll swoop you later.